welcome everyone to our second coffee hour for the directors and the e-baristas. And the main agenda today is to talk about the summit and the prep that we have to work through for the training that we are going to provide for the fellows at the summit. And this is sort of the agenda that I came up with. Welcome everybody again to our second coffee hour. There are a few announcements that I want to get to, and then we'll talk about the COE assignments. Then we get into the meat of the training process that we are going to go through the summit. And I also need a few volunteers for setup, and we have a big crowd of 124 people coming in for registration. So we would like we'd like help in managing that. We also would like volunteers who can take photographs on your iPhones or cameras or whatever you bring.
I can help with that, Joe.
Shoot them back to me. Great.
Joe, this is Don.
And I will. Okay, Don.
I'll be there early.
And what I would recommend is, if you are interested in volunteering in any of these things, please email me separate, and then I'll put together a list of activities that you can help me with. So if you are interested in helping out, please send me we'll coordinate. And the other thing is just sort of keeping faculty on task. We have these group of faculty. Some of these groups are about 15 to 18 in terms of size. And the challenge is always to keep them on task and then move them through the various steps and stages of the training, and moving them from coffee to breakfast to convenient training, and then break time, moving them to lunch and then bringing them back. So I just need combined effort. If all of us can help each other do that, that'll be great. So please email me separately, and I'll love to coordinate with all of you. So the training that most of you participated in August is really at the crux of this summit. And I wanted to take some time today to go through some of the elements of the training and how we have to manage the process, because we have to train about 160 new incoming fellows, and we have almost the same number of directors and faculty fellows coming to the summit. So we have a large group, and I sent everyone a updated what I call as a COE assignments worksheet. And again, I apologize in advance because this is a document in flux, and I make some changes, and then sometimes Clark makes some changes. So you may see, I already sent this to Joe, and then it's still not corrected. If you had sent me an email, rest assured it will be reflected on the final assignment sheet. But we are, at this point, for this hour, focused on who the training leaders are. We have sort of identified individuals who we think will be able to lead this training, and then we sort of added a group of people to help them support the training piece. So in terms of the agenda, we are going to get together at 8 o'clock in the morning on the 31st. 8 to 9 o'clock is the breakfast, and then 9 to about 9:15, 9:20, we have Mike and Clark and Rosa sharing their comments and thoughts from the funders' perspective. And we are also then we go into the assignments and overview of the training, and then setting the expectations. There are a couple of common directors who are going to talk to us about the program itself. We have 2 new schools coming on board this year, and I've asked a few of the common directors who have been part of this program for a number of years to sort of share some thoughts with the community of practice. And then we'll move into the actual training. The training is going to happen between about 10:15 to about 12:45, and then we take a break for lunch, 12:45 to 1:30, and then we are actually moving everybody from the space that we are in upstairs at the convention center. So I think I also on the website I posted a space plan or a PDF of the meeting center, so we can see where the building, where the space is located. So that most of the training is going to take place as in a place they call Jackson A, B, C, and D, 10A, B, and C, and D, and it's on the lower level. If you look at the PDF, you'll see where it is, and that's where we are going to be for the most of the day. And then we'll break for lunch, go up to a separate room, one level up, eat lunch, come back, and then we'll continue with the training. And then we adjourn at 5:30, and then we have planned a reception. And thanks to the foundation, we have alcohol at the reception. So we have a chance again to engage, network, communicate, talk to each other, and then we are done for the day. And then the hope is that you will sort of migrate into the CEO reception and the activities of the conference going on. So that's sort of the overall agenda. But then I want to talk about the training itself per se. So I hope that all of you had a chance to look at the PDF that I sent out earlier. And I marked up, annotated, and a few bubbles highlight what we want to do there. And the key is to maintain the fidelity of the training. This training has been put together with a lot of thought by the Drucker people, and it is a chance for us to give the fellows a really prescribed way of thinking about how they can infuse entrepreneurship in their coursework. So it's a team effort. So I'm hoping that all of you can help me make this happen at the summit. And if there are any questions during this, feel free to interrupt me, since or you can do your raise hand button. So I don't want you to wait till the end of it. So this is a free-flowing dialogue. So please feel free to interrupt me. So when everybody gets together, we have this breakfast, and then we have a few things planned in the morning, and then we start the training. And when the training starts, that's when you and your team takes over. And the very first step is we have what the Drucker Institute people have called source of innovation cards. What we have also done is we have put together a 3-ring binder going back to old technology, where we have the participants' workbook, the innovation template, and a few other notes and handouts that we're going to put together for the fellows. And in there also is the COE assignments. The COE assignments, rather than last year, we did sort of the speed dating exercise, but we were not very successful in, getting some groups to come together as a community of, community of practice. So we have sort of looked at where each fellow is teaching, which department, which program, and what kind of courses. And then we have sort of put together a grouping, if you would. And I think I have gotten feedback from most of you, or at least all of you, most of you, I would say. I haven't heard back from a couple of people that said, well, maybe this faculty would be a better fit in the food and health or natural sciences or IT. And so, because even though they may be teaching in the psychology or Department of Psychology, they may be teaching mainly communication items. So maybe they belong in the communication COE. So if you haven't had a chance to look at your that spreadsheet, please look at that, and then let me know in the next day. We want to start printing documents for the binder starting Monday or Tuesday. So by the end of the day, Monday, please email me all of the changes that you think you would like to see, and that way we'll have enough time to get this done. So, so going back to the training, we convene everybody in these COVs, and the way the room is laid out, there'll be tables and chairs, so each group, and this is a big space, so there'll be enough space to wander around and build, maybe 2 tables together, so we have a sense of a group working together. And the first task in any group assignment is to get them together as a group. So, you may want to do something like, asking them to, rather than just going around and say, give me your name or repeat, because that always, some people talk for 10 minutes, some people talk for 2 minutes. Rather than doing that, I would suggest that the training leaders go through the list, which will be in the training binder, of all the participants, and then you do the introduction, rather than asking them to do it. There'll be enough opportunity during the day for them to talk amongst each other. So we want to keep this to a timeline that is pre-prescribed so that we maintain the fidelity of the training of the Drucker content. So then, I'm sorry, Milliken has a question. Go ahead, Milliken.
Hey, Joe. It's just a logistics question regarding the training and when we're working with our groups, all right? Is there going to be enough distance between the groups so the conversations don't get, in the past, there's been times when it's just, this is not helpful. You know what I'm saying? We're on top of each other. And that's all I'm asking. Is there a way to make sure that there's
great question, because we thought about it, and that's why we have added additional open space. So the way it is literally 50% more space than what we had last year.
Okay.
So there'll be it's still, depending on how loud the conversations are, it could still be noisy, but it's not going to be so close in a sense that, we cannot hear each other. So and then after the breakfast is done, the hotel staff are going to move the breakfast buffet out of the way, so we can literally pull tables around, and, that's sort of the thinking behind it. So yes, we have tried to address it.
Do you have any sense of
Go
how
ahead.
large the groups are going to be? I've looked at the participants, and I'm assuming the blocked out are ones that aren't going to be there. Is that correct?
Right. So the largest groups are engineering, and communications is another big group. So the largest group has about 18 faculty.
Okay. Well, that's a large group.
So that's the largest number that we are expecting. So, and these are bound. I'm sorry?
I didn't say anything.
Okay. And so the plan is we'll have 2 round tables, and the way the seating works, it's 10 per table. So we have extra chairs, so we can even bring, get rid of the, some people like tables right on, some people just want right on the training binder. Whatever works. In terms of space, there is a lot of space that we have. So you'll talk to it. Okay. So thank you. So then once everybody's assembled and settled down, then we get to the actual first step of the training, which is reading of the innovation cards. And everybody is getting a 3-ring binder with the participants' workbook, innovation template, and what we call as the source of innovation card. So all the materials that we would need to train the faculty is in a training binder. So you can ask them to, they're all tabbed accordingly, so they go to the innovation cards. And if you remember the training, Sharon, we went around, each participant asked them to read out loud a particular statement that the cards have on it. And then encourage discussion. Again, faculty are going to talk about what they think is relevant to them, or they may say it's not relevant to me. So the challenge is really to keep them on task of, okay, here's how you can think of innovation one way. And I've had some offline conversations with several faculty, and the way I always say it is, the fact that you are now infusing entrepreneurship content in your photography course is in itself an innovation. So if you think about it that way, what would you do? How would you do it? What are the challenges of the discipline of photography, of getting young people trained to be photographers and become self-employed as a photographer? So if you, again, I think it's just the guiding of the conversation that's critical. Then tied to the cards is what we call as the innovation template, which is the large piece of paper that all of you filled out in August. And again, that's a group activity. And I'll keep time. I'll be around. Clark will be around. And Mike and Rosa, we're all going to keep time and make sure that everything is moving in each group. And allow for questions. I think, the discussion amongst faculty is critical, but at the same time, we want to keep the process moving. Then the next step would be to, once you're done with the innovation template, you fill that out, then we have a group discussion around it. And the idea is also you have a large piece of paper on the table that everybody shares and scribbles on. And then since we have included a copy in their binders, each faculty may want to take some key takeaways from the discussion to their campuses. So we have included a lot of space in the binder to write, scribble, and talk about this. Then, again, the main thing on your end is to keep this dialogue moving, keep this focused on how can this be how can e-content be included in your coursework. And I'll share this outline with you too, and we'll have opportunities to revisit this again, hopefully when we have Q&A on this session. So after the opportunities for innovation discussion, then we move to the Marshmallow Challenge. And we'll have all the things that you would need for the Marshmallow Challenge at the tables, and then you go through that. And this is an activity that gets everybody to get up and move around so they're not just sitting in one space. And there is a specific way to, I think most of you went through it. On page 12 of the workbook that all of you have, there is some key points that the Drucker people have put together in terms of how, when they do this with top CEOs and Fortune 100 companies, they always end up losing the challenge. And again, their emphasis is on almost like a childlike curiosity about exploring new ways and creative ways to infuse entrepreneurship in our coursework. So it's the challenge between, well, some of these faculty have taught something for 25, 30 years. And how are we going to get them to think in a different way when they talk about infusing entrepreneurship content in their coursework? So that is of all the things that the Drucker people have, when we put this together, we felt this would be an interesting way to get them to think about that. So that's the main goal of the Marshmallow Challenge. And then, I guess the team that also ends up building the highest or tallest tower, I'm sure they feel good about it. So then we sort of take a break, and everybody then watches this innovation video that we have a large screen. So everybody collectively as a room watch the video. And then after the video, we are going to give each group some time to discuss the content of the video. And again, take notes and how would they think about innovation in their own disciplines, and what are some of the innovations in their disciplines that were really working well, not working well. Maybe they can think about different ways, and then they can talk amongst the veteran fellows and the new fellows and share information, knowledge. And the directors and the lead baristas have a lot more information in terms of how to teach entrepreneurship and how they have taught it and how this could work. And just keep the dialogue moving, keep the focus on the task, and ask everyone to complete. There are in the work participants workbook, pages 20 and 21, kind of talk about the innovation checklist and how they could work. And then we break for lunch. And after lunch, we come back and we talk about the Coleman contract and get into the discussion of what are you going to do different Monday morning. And that's sort of the end of the training per se. So all this is sort of timed exactly the way Drucker people have timed it. So we maintain the accuracy and fidelity of the training. Then we get into our agenda, which is meaning we are going to get the COEs to talk about the Coleman contract. What are the courses that they would think about working with, or are they thinking about new coursework or modifying existing lesson plans or existing learning objectives? And this is where, again, the training leaders or facilitators can help shape the process so that when they go back home to their campuses, they are sort of set, okay, yeah, this is what I think I'm going to do. It may change, but at least they have a sense of direction of which way they need to head towards. So that is the, in 23 minutes, the synopsis of the training process that I wanted to go through. And I really would like to open up for questions because there are a lot of details to this. So as you read through the PDF, what did you think about it? Is the sequence clear to all of you into what comes first, what comes next?
Yes, it's clear. I thought it was very clear in what you wrote and in what we have.
And in terms of, do you have any thoughts on when you read through this, is there anything that we can do differently in terms of, not the training itself, overall at the summit, that can make this task even easier for the fellows?
Joe Sparrow-Pabler. Will all of the fellows have their book ahead of time so they'll be prepared when they come in? Or are they going to be given all these documents when we first meet with them and have to get them up to speed?
Well, good question. The answer is no, they will not have the 3D binders before they get there. They will, at the time of registration is when they will be given those binders.
So will we be encouraging them to do their homework to be prepared before they come into the session? Because it will make us, our jobs easier as the facilitators for this, for them to have some idea about what's going on with the program.
Right, and our hope is that you will communicate on your individual campuses via email or some sort of a meeting. We are going to the summit. We want you to, this is what we are going to do. This is what we want you to think about. And you're welcome to share some of the Drucker content that all the campus directors and e-baristas have. And we just haven't found a way to make it available to all the fellows. Maybe next year we should do that or something, but this year, no. So that's part of the challenge, getting them to participate in the training. Now, they leave the summit prepared with your input and all of the dialogue that's happening at the summit.
Joe, this is Stoll at UNCG.
Hey, Stoll. Go ahead.
When we break from breakfast and rearrange the tables, that seems like a confusing moment to try to have everybody have workbooks and the marshmallow challenges and templates at the tables. I guess the people preparing it, the volunteers you asked for, will be kind of working that out.
Right. So, I mean, so for example, when fellows come in and register for the summit, they will get a reading binder, and in that binder, they will find a worksheet or spreadsheet that tells them which COE they belong to. So when we assemble them into assemble faculty into these groups, then we have a chance to reduce that confusion, if you will. So when they eat breakfast, technically we can even say, well, when you get together, go grab your breakfast and then come sit at this COE. And then all the training facilitators and leaders will have some sort of a signage there saying this COE is for food and natural sciences, IT, communication. So we're trying to minimize that chaos. But you're right. There's going to be some level of moving around that we have to manage. That's why I'm asking for the volunteers to help me. When we convene for training, so that there's a lot of people wandering around. We just know, because we know ahead of time which faculty belong to which COE, so we know where they need to come in and where they need to sit. So, and Mike had a suggestion about emailing the fellows, which I guess we could do. We'll have to talk through that. But we'll definitely have all of the content that they would need to go through, and you would need to go through in the training binder.
Joe, this is Don Reamer.
Hi, Don.
Hi. Along with the email, is there any way of introducing the whole Drucker Philosophy Institute, and even prior, just the voluminous documents that periodicals, all of the things that he's published over the years? And at the training, there was a couple of books that were obviously introduced, and some of the periodicals that appeared in the Harvard Business Review. If there's just, even before the fellows get to the summit, if there's just a way of just orienting the fellows to Drucker. Some of us are really well acquainted with Drucker and his philosophy, and really the significant impact that he's had. That's just a suggestion or a thought that I had.
Yeah, we could post on the fellow site links to the Drucker Institute and the Drucker Forum.
Yeah,
and
that's
there
exactly.
are several. Sure, absolutely, we could do that.
Okay,
that's a good thought. I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other questions about the flow of the training itself, the way the sequence should work?
Joe, it's Harold Welch. I'm a little concerned, based on the last question and issue that was brought up, that these are non-business faculty, and they never heard of Drucker.
Mm-hmm.
They never heard of his principles.
Yes.
And suddenly they're thrown into the deep water of having to do a project based on his principles. So the more orientation and summaries that we can do to help them along, I think the better. Is there some formal mechanism we can provide as a document or as an orientation period to familiarize them with Drucker?
I mean, there is a lot. I mean, I guess the best one way to think about this is have the fellows look at the Drucker Institute website. There is a lot of summary and a lot of synopsis about, and it's really not, we're not really focused on Drucker's philosophy about management. We're just trying to connect the innovation process. And Drucker calls the entrepreneurs as instruments of innovation. We're trying to connect the dots that way. So even if we have engineers and other faculty who have never heard about Drucker, if we present it in the context of this is how we want you to think about innovation and in your coursework, that's my hope. That would resonate with them, and it seemed to work at the August training with all of you. So, but definitely we want to encourage fellows, and it's really through the campus directors. If you find a need to, get more information, I can send you all kinds of links. What I don't want to do is, I think, bombard the fellows community with just the Drucker content and all the Drucker stuff, and then make it somehow this about Drucker. It's really about the fellows, the adaptation of innovation and entrepreneurship focus from Drucker that overlays and helps the task of the fellows. Milliken, go ahead. Sharon?
Well, it's a little different question, so if you want to continue, fully answer their question.
No, go ahead. Okay, did I answer that question? I hope that answers the question.
Well, I would suggest one or two key articles as must-reading and the others as voluntary.
Joe, we have
Okay.
We've been using lots of tools here for quite some time with our fellows, and one of them is it's just an exercise that we've put together 3-4 years ago. It's visual. It's got comparisons. You don't have to know anything about business to be able to understand it. I'll send it to you, and if you find it of any value, you can decide to share it. It's
Absolutely, please.
It's just a PowerPoint that talks about innovation and talks about the 7 sources and why, and what are those opportunities that they create, and then it gives a lot of examples and visuals of that. But my question is, 245. As I'm looking at the agenda, the 245, you've got the COEs and baristas. Is that a separate? Coming back together or coming together, is that a common time to gather, or is that still in the groups? I guess maybe I'm slow here, but just trying to understand what the last session's going to come.
Okay. So after the training, the Drucker training piece is done, we still want the COEs to gel together, come together at a cup of espresso, as a group of faculty engaged in similar coursework and content concerns. So we wanted time for them to work through the various pieces that they have sort of gotten from the training, and then work with the e-barista and the directors who are guiding them through the process. So it is a common time in the sense that there is no prescriptive agenda for that. So they are working together as a community of faculty to engage the entrepreneurship content infusion in their coursework.
Okay, so
does that answer the question?
Well, so what you're saying is we'll still be in our designated groups. Is that right?
Correct. You'll still be in your designated.
We'll still be in there, and so because I think there will need to be. I understand what you're saying about we're going to come together and gel and so forth, but my experience is there needs to be some kind of process for them to come together, to come out with potentially some ways that they're going to use this information or think about innovation in their courses. Is that the ultimate goal here? And should we have them have some kind of call to action or some of the things that they think that they're going to be doing when they go back? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, and specifically we call it the Coleman contract. So when the COEs are getting together, they will be working on the Coleman contract, and more importantly, what are they going to do different Monday morning? That kind of that's maybe I wasn't clear about that. So after lunch, when they move to the.
What do you mean by the Coleman contract? You mean our fellow?
What do I mean? Well,
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
or the contract we sign with Drucker, the institute. What do you mean?
No. Okay. If you look in the binder when we did the training in August,
right,
there is a document called Coleman contract where we are suggesting and initiating certain thought processes. What courses would you consider? So, and we want each of the COEs to work on that collectively so that they can help each other as faculty to determine what that should be. And then we are also put together, and we have also put together time on Friday in case, and all the feedback that we've gotten over the years is that we need more time to do this and not less time. So we have also put together time slots on Friday that COEs can get together and work on it.
Understood.
That's what I mean by the Coleman.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to be clear. Thanks.
Sorry about this. There is a construction, something going on outside, so if you hear noises, that's what that is. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question, Joe. This is Stoll again at UNCG. I think you said there's a time from like 9 to 9:20 in the morning after breakfast. And during that time, will you be kind of speaking generally to the whole group?
Oh, that's what we have planned is we wanted the foundation is primarily Mike, Clark, and Rosa to talk about their perspective as a funder and the expectations that they have for the fellows program. And so it's an opportunity for the foundation to address the entire group.
Well,
and then there may be a couple of directors, former directors, who probably are going to talk about some of their experiences running this effort on the campus.
I'm just wondering, because part of the training is a little introduction to Drucker, to our group, in other words. And I think that part of the success in August was that it was Rick talking to the whole group. But if we're now divided up in tables after the 9:20, and then we're going to have however many subgroups there are. How many are there?
8.
8. We're going to have 8 leaders all reviewing Drucker as an introduction. Is that a good way to start it?
Correct.
Or is it better to have you or somebody give a little overview of Drucker to everybody and then break into our 8 groups? Do you understand what I'm asking? I'm trying to address the concern of the variety of experiences with Drucker from 0 to 100 in the same room.
Yeah, there is an introduction, and I call it setting expectations for the training. There is a little bit of overview of Drucker in that, but not to the extent that we're not going to talk about his philosophy and there is definitely an introduction to Drucker and the team that we are focused on. And more importantly, it's not what I want to emphasize is this is not about Drucker. This is about how we lay and overlay Drucker content to the fellows program. So I'm always concerned about talking too much about Drucker so that it kind of creeps into that area. So, but I agree. Your point is well taken. We'll definitely there will be some introduction to Drucker content for the entire.
Joe, it's
Part
just,
of our script as facilitators includes a little introduction to Drucker.
Correct. That's and that's again something that I'm hoping that each of these training leaders and the training facilitators will still emphasize within the individual groups.
Great. Okay, I understand, I think.
I mean, really, Joe, what we're talking about is the framework.
So there'll be an overview from
using his
for the
concepts.
entire room, and then each of the groups would then have some more time to talk about Drucker. And again, the reason we're doing that is because we can talk about Drucker, but it's the application of Drucker into the specific areas that we are concerned about. So that's the focus. Go ahead, Mike.
Joe, I'd like to kind of jump in on this part of the conversation because I really think it's important that there's really some good points brought up here about the variability of the room and how much people know about Drucker. I really think between you and Clark, you should do a group presentation on Drucker and divide it into two parts. A general overview on Drucker with references as to where anybody could go to who wants to dig deeper into that, and then focus in on the innovation that you're talking about. I don't know how many more times we need to have, Coleman perspective on this. We may have a couple of things that may even be better stated at the end. I don't know, but I want to make sure we get off to a really good, strong start. Everybody feels grounded. If we need to get information out ahead of time, I suppose, the suggestion I made, we could do it electronically. I was trying to think back of everything that was in the book. Some of that probably would be a good idea to get out ahead of time, but I don't want to lose everybody from the beginning by spending a whole lot of time on Coleman when we really need to get right away into why we're here, why it's exciting, the framework for Drucker and what it means to innovation, and get everybody off to a good start.
Yeah, Mike, we can definitely do that. We could. Part of the plan is to do some of that, but maybe not to the extent that. I guess the focus is really not on Drucker, but fellows program. So yeah, Clark and I we'll come up with something that.
Yeah, all I'm suggesting is have enough context so that what you're asking them to do within the innovation space of that makes sense. That's all.
Sure, absolutely. Jerry, go ahead, Jerry.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. What I was thinking about what might be useful just as a way to set this, I don't think folks need a whole lot more of Drucker's theory, because actually the material at the end of the PDF was really very complete. But what probably is useful here is to do something more along the lines of who is Drucker and why is what he's doing important. The moral of that tale, the history folks can look up and talk about. The point is that what Drucker did when innovation entrepreneurship came out was that a world-renowned expert who consulted almost exclusively to Fortune 500 companies comes out and says entrepreneurship is vitally important to all businesses and to our societies. And when he said that, he was actually one of the people who, along with Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, launched the entrepreneurial revolution both in Europe and in the U.S. And so his words, few people have said this as beautifully, as almost as lyrically, and as with such a hard-nosed approach as Peter Drucker. So here, 40 years after the original writings, we're still going back to what he says and knowing that the presidents of countries and the presidents of companies still use this book as one of their Bibles.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry, because when we went down this pathway, there isn't anybody more than Drucker whose theories have been tested over and over again, and all the Fortune 100 companies still use Drucker as like you say, the Bible for getting their employees on the top level, mainly their top echelon of employees, to become creative and entrepreneurial. So it's so again, I hear the concerns, and we will definitely address it. So we'll get everybody on the same page. And I guess we could send out certain articles and certain. There are a couple of AMJ articles that sort of concisely talks about Drucker's innovation theory. So we'll send it out. We'll send that out. So okay, other questions or concerns and thoughts on how we can make this work for everybody? Go ahead, Don. Don, you have a question or a comment?
No, I was just going back to what Jerry said because what Jerry said really makes a lot of sense, and I was thinking about that, and I was just pulling a file on that entrepreneurship and innovation, that article that was mentioned in August. That one article is pretty powerful, and it was kind of the shot that was heard around the world, in terms of entrepreneurial education. So that's in terms of a way of orienting faculty prior to getting to the summit. I'm just reiterating what I had kind of said earlier. It's not really a lot, and I understand in going through the training the linkage between the Coleman philosophy and entrepreneurial thinking and action, and I just think it would be very helpful. So I'm just glad that you're going to do that. In terms of you and Clark saying something for the entire room, that might be also important because the message is really for all of the COEs, not just for one. How we as leaders and trainers interpret that and communicate it to our individual COEs will be up to us, because each of us have different experiences and backgrounds and come from different disciplines. So,
and that's a great point. This is what I want to talk about next, because the other objective is to build what I call as a common language. So I know we borrowed this theme from Coffe, thanks to Clark. So when we talk about e-baristas and cups of espresso, faculty groups, sometimes you get strange looks, but I think that's a powerful thing to have. So this is a community of practice that has its own. It's like almost having like a secret handshake. So we have our own lingo, we have our own common language, we have our own kind of framework that we can work off of. And when all the fellows go to their own campuses and they talk about e-baristas, they have a sense, oh, hey, I know what they're talking about. So again, the Drucker piece is critical, and I think Drucker is, and it's not all Drucker, but it's really taking a slice of what he's built as a framework. But more importantly, it's getting the community of practice to come up with common language, common themes, common construct. Some of the challenges that all the faculty face is, I've taught photography or anthropology for 25 years, and I've never thought about infusing entrepreneurship content in that coursework. Now, how do I do that? Well, thank God we have anthropology faculty who have done that. We have e-baristas who have looked at that. We have Coleman directors who have engaged in the process. So then it's okay, well, what can we learn from them? But also, how can we build a common language that people coming down further, the new faculty especially, can look at that? And this is one way to build a framework and a common theme and a common language. So that is the other part of this summit goal. We want, when everybody leaves the summit after the 7 o'clock reception, we want everybody to have a common framework, a common set of words and lingo, and even call it even jargons. But within the fellows community, when we talk about e-barista, everybody should know what that is. When we talk about Drucker's the Coleman contract, everybody should know what that is. When we talk about how do you overlay Drucker's innovation on discipline thought process to what you're teaching on your campus. So those are the kinds of things that also we are expecting as a goal and outcome. So my hope is that we will have enough dialogue, enough information flow from the experienced directors and the e-baristas and people who have taught entrepreneurship to the new incoming fellows and the veteran fellows that kind of brings everybody together. So, and one of the questions that always comes up is, well, what kind of content are we going to use? And to be honest with you, we have, if you look at all the list of all the Coleman directors, that is the content. I mean, between this, I mean, in this group, we have about 100 plus years of teaching entrepreneurship, researching entrepreneurship, writing entrepreneurship. So when we have a need for content, that's where we have to go. And if they cannot, let's say, identify and pull something off their shelf, they know how to go get it. So we have a lot of information that we can garner and help the fellows. And the other major goal is to let the fellows understand that they are not alone. They have an army of resources behind them, namely the directors, the community of practice, e-baristas, and veteran fellows who have all engaged in this process. And it is not perfect, perhaps, after 5 years, but it is there. We have a lot of resources that we can give them or help them with, that they don't feel that they're alone. And because I remember the first year when I did this, it was tough. It was difficult to say, okay, here, go to this person, that person. Now we have a collective knowledge and experience, still evolving, but we still have a lot of experience in doing this for a few years. And we can say, okay, here's one way to look at it. And then they take that, make it work for them and work it on the campus. So that's another major objective of the Fellow Summit. It's not just that Drucker, it's there to bring, and again, group theory, I'm sure a lot of you teach management, I teach management. The group theory is really, norming, forming, performing, adjourning, and all that stuff. It really is, we are forming a community of practice at this event. So that's the stage that we are at. And all these elements are there to help us form the community of practice. And I'm really counting on all of you to make it happen. So that's the other goal. So I hope that you can think about it. And if there are other ideas or other things that you can, like Sharon, thank you, Sharon, please send it to me. Also, I wanted to mention Gina from Worcester Polytechnic had a grad assistant put together some examples for the source of innovation in different areas. So I'll share that document with everybody, and I'll actually put that in the reading binder. So we have some other handouts, and I can probably even include a AMJ Drucker article that Don was mentioning. We can put that in the binder. So a lot of things we can. So when we talk about the training, it's not just what we bring to the table, or what's in the binder, but also how we can collectively use it. So that's where I think the strength of the Fellows program is. So. Other thoughts, concerns, questions, comments? Okay, so those of you who are interested in helping out with the event, please email me. We are looking for photographers. We are looking for discussion leaders. We are also looking for people who can help us set up, pass out handouts, help with the registration process, registration desk. A lot of we are really looking for all of you to help and pitch in to make the summit a success. So thanks. Other questions or comments?
Joe?
Before we end the meeting? Yes, Sharon.
Again. I'm sorry. It's me again, Sharon. All those things that you want, volunteers there. It might be, I don't know, I'm just suggesting it might be easier to get people signing up for things that you want if they had a list and they could sign up for those specific ones. Does that make sense to you? Or do you want, because
sure.
Send it out. Here's what we need. Here are the times we need them. So I don't know. Maybe that's just too anal on my part, but.
No, great. I'll send an email to this group, and say these are things that we want help with, and then I can even
volunteers for
put
setup.
Google Doc together.
Time frame. What do you want? That's all I'm trying to say. Might be easier for them to be able to say that. That's all.
Great, and then thank you. I'll definitely do that. I'll even put together a Google Doc or something so we can all share it. The other question that I had for everyone is, how many of you are planning to be there Wednesday evening? Is it most of them? Can I assume that most of you are planning to be there Wednesday evening?
Yeah,
Or is there anybody
be
who's
there.
not?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
This is Illinois State. We'll be there Wednesday evening.
No.
Okay.
Should be too.
This is Boyd.
Okay.
We won't be until Thursday morning.
That's right.
Quincy plans to be there Wednesday evening.
Lawrence Tech, Wednesday evening.
Because the thinking is, if there is enough, a lot of the e-baristas wanted to know if we can meet as a group Wednesday evening, and if there are enough directors there Wednesday evening, Clark and I have talked about putting together a time for us to meet, and we'll even get a space from the hotel, make it work, so that we can maybe run through some of these details the day before and get everybody together on the same page. And more importantly, just to have a group of faculty together. And again, every time we do this, the feedback we always get is that's the best time. We need to do a lot more of this. So we are willing to. So if you are there, I'll send out an email with that date. With the time and a place. We're thinking about 7 p.m. on Wednesday evening. That seems to be a good time for everybody. So. And if you come in late, just walk in. It's not a formal meeting or anything, so feel free to join us.
Where?
And it's just a group of faculty. It'll be at the Hyatt, and I'll send out a room location.
Thank you.
We don't have a room yet, so I'll send out a location for that. So that's all of the items that I wanted to cover today. So are there any other comments, questions, suggestions? Go ahead, Gina.
I have no questions.
Okay, I thought you had. Okay.
Thank you, Joe.
Mike, go ahead. Was that a question?
No, this is Don Reamer. Thanking you very much.
You're welcome, Don.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, any other thoughts as we close?
No, we're all done. Thanks, Joe.
Okay. Oh, Mike left. Okay, I'm sorry, Mike left. Okay, thanks everybody for joining the session, and we will see all of you in October in a couple more weeks. Thanks again.